Sorry about that. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy. Thank you for joining me for our live tarot session today, September 20, what is it? 3rd, 2024. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Let's give a shout out to everyone here in the chat. Good to see you, Steve McQueen, Gandhi, much love. Lisa, good to see you. Valerie, good evening. Isaac, good evening. Christy, much love. Hollerhaint, good to see you. Geronimo, great to see you. D Love, much love. Leslie Cellini, good to see you. Geronimo, great to see you. Nikosmas, Exit 101, good to see you. Foundations, Taz, good day. Kari, good evening. Good to see you. All right. Geo, much love. Good to see you. Sixtus, much love. Abbott, good to see you. Much love. Mother Rhea, all the love in the world. All right. Daphne, great to see you. And Penengaz, wow. Thank you so much. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. All right. Let's start off by talking a bit about our astrology. So, today we are in that beautiful Sun in Libra, right? That amazing balanced energy, that energy of learning to adapt and flow and change, of pursuing the aesthetic, the image, the beautiful, right? Of ordering and flowing and of moving in that connected, beautiful way. And then we look at our sun and we have the moon in Gemini. The moon in Gemini is such beautiful energy, right? It's all about that intellectual pursuit, that fun playfulness, that desire to just move and to explore. And with that balance of the Libra, you can really explore and be in flow and in communication with others, learning and adapting, growing and playing. And it's a beautiful moment. So take advantage of this time. Be in that connectivity. Go hang out with people. Learn and talk and express yourself. Enjoy the moment. It's beautiful. And let's talk a little bit about the title today. Take control of your passions through reasoned action. This morning when I was meditating on the cards, I drew the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is intense energy. Powerful energy, capable energy. It is that outgoing force, that one who pursues their will and their desires in that direct, active way. And when I was thinking on this energy, I had this understanding that if you can focus that energy, if you can apply reason, if you can direct that power, right, in a truly right direction with the right focus, you can do just about anything, right? We have the ability. It's just about learning to channel the energy rightly and not waste it for ourselves, not be bound to too many things in too many directions, right? Not be bound by things that addict us or distract us, or the issue too with that night energy, with that wands energy, is it's prone to that fiery exploration. And that is beautiful on one hand, but it can burn you if you overindulge, right? It becomes that obsession, that binding force. But if you can apply that reason to it, you can do anything, right? We have that power. We are the wielder of that wand. The magic is in our hands. The light is ours to shine. We just have to direct it towards that middle path, that reasoned path. And I wanted to read for you guys a poem I found. It's called Lavender by Paul Cameron Brown. A mind is a rare light running to the sea, an arch of wood upon which birds rest. Minds roam the ocean's crest, sit as antlers upon a beach, watch eddies of water trap themselves in the sand. And minds are in anything but a state of rest. They violate. Physics make a mockery of their bodies not in ready motion. I have seen a mind enclosed above fresh air and sunshine, frolicking on its own strength, the elasticity of its thought lassoing all the stars assembled. Golden points of light caught in the sand with an oval sun, marching blue legions across the sky, bring more harmony than all the stars assembled. Admiral Fakir Harem, they are all here, as is Batik, Geisha, Sarong, Teak, and Gingham. I have seen them in quiet pools near the atolls. Rapture is a word to be eaten with persimmon and pears. The closed wood, copse, and fragrant bush. White mare alone in a green-studded pasture, aback groves and groves of pleasant trees. Bright insects, making a curry of the forest floor with leaves as trinkets battered to the wind. And the endless sky overturned like a bull across the horizon. Water and air, the two chief elements in a brisk compound with earth and fire. The land itself nursing a presence by the sea as a lizard might devour a fly in a bough above a tree. Then there are the granaries of this empire, the washed up logs darting into footprints from the inlets, a white sand making its presence felt like a tireless magician, green strands of the cumber bush big with melon, a mother with expectant child hushed and sitting by a clearing. The waters of the stream please me more than the sea. Coconut groves with hand-me-down messages for the ages, strands among weeds, wine bottles as ferrymen ready for circumnavigation around islands, crisscrossing bucolic charts. And everywhere reefs and coral, and sugar bush fish darting between the sieve of land breaking bread with sea, exchanging colors from the many-colored coats. Kangaroo, koala, teepee, bayou hula, lay, sights which gallop against the senses, act as brigands to mature reason. Far away in the fountain fastness of the mind, alpine meadows look out upon further marvels, exchange cocoa for quinine, adjust the mind as a stirrup before a long night ride. The shaman, with a hammock in his catamaran, dolefully accepts the waves as the skin must a tattoo. The lovely collision of sound with twilight on the fragrant sea grape, the hush of storm clouds preparing to administer their own bromide of fire before the appearance of a band-aid patch of lightning strikes against the divide. Perhaps lavender is a language here, the juxtaposition of mind with energy coming to a halt from a brisk canter, then proceeding to nibble a current from my hand. There's a lot in this poem. When I came on this, it blew my mind, and I knew it was a message from the muse, and I had to share with you all. But there's so much power in that mind. Be like that shaman who can float upon the waters, in control of their passions, directed towards that drug. Interesting. All right. We're now going to go to our Ganapati oracle. All right. Ganesha Ganapati is that divine child, the Lord of beginnings, guardian of the threshold, the master of spirits, the Ganas. We want you, please, to send us a message, inspire us, and ensure that our words are heard by those who need to hear them. So, Lord Ganapati, what is the message for the community? All right. Today's message: acceptance. Beautiful. We've seen this one before, but it's such a profound message. Learning to accept yourself, to accept your fate, right? To have the strength to change what you can, and to have the strength to let go of what you can't, right? There's a lot of power here, right? It's partially that Dionysian energy of the fool, the one who is okay with uncertainty, who embraces the absurd, who moves and flows with reality, right? who accepts that life is suffering and crazy and ridiculous and leaps forward into generation anyway. Right? Beautiful. We have to learn to accept our fate in some ways, accept ourselves. Right? Remember, all is change, but sometimes change is slow. All right. We're now going to start with our sortes. For those of you unaware, the sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that is divination through literature, and it comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition. And we invoke the goddesses of inspiration, the divine muses, and ask them to send us a message through the text. So today we are going to start with the Voodoo Quantum Leap by Reginald Crossley. So muses, what is the message from Crossley? Inspire us this evening. They are released after varying lengths of time, years or months or days, to rejoin their family above. The sojourn underwater makes their hair straight and the skin lighter. There are some analogies between the treatment of the Haitian adoptees and that reported by Americans in recent years on the account of alien beings. He's referring to, within Haiti, there's this tradition of people being abducted by certain families of deities, of spirits, of gods. And some modern people want to equate this with alien abductions. But it is interesting. They're released after varying lengths of times, and their skin comes back whiter, and it's like they have sojourned underwater. Doesn't sound like an alien to me, though. Anyway, interesting. Let's continue. We're going to go to Don Juan in Hell by Bernard Shaw. Muses, what is the message from Bernard Shaw? Inspire us. Happier, no. The wiser, yes. That moment introduced me for the first time to myself, and through myself to the world. I saw then how useless it is to attempt to impose conditions on the irresistible force of life, to preach prudence, careful selection, virtue, honor, chastity. What was I just saying? Oh my gosh, we just got the entire message of today's tarot spoken to us in another longer sentence. The happier no, the wiser yes. That moment introduced me for the first time to myself, and through myself to the world. I saw then how useless it is to attempt to impose conditions on the irresistible force of life, to preach prudence, careful selection, virtue, honor, chastity. Reason by another word, right? Reason by another set of words. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And recognizing, right, that it is through that understanding of the self that all of this knowledge comes, that we can accept that life, the change and the transformation. When we know the fullness of our own individual experience, you know, you have to be introduced to yourself. You have to look into your inner world. All right. Let us go to Gurdjieff. Beelzebub's tales to his grandson. All right. Muses, what is the message from Gurdjieff? Inspire us this evening. And this custom, together with many other ancient Judaic customs, also reached the followers of the Christian religion, who had first observed it very strictly in their everyday life, But very soon, both this custom itself and even the information about its adoption among them similarly quickly disappeared from among the followers of this then still new religion. And what they're talking about is these lineage and the transformation of customs, right? What starts off as originally something that is related, right? Christianity begins as sort of a sect within, or at least originally it tries to assert itself as Orthodox Judaism, right? The original Christians largely didn't see themselves as outside of Judaism, but then they became a sect. And then quickly they move from sect to distinct religion, right? And they start to view themselves in opposition, right? And then you have this process by which, and you see this in many, many, many different religions and cultures and all kinds of things. You have to define yourself through your distinctions, and you further transform and reform and reimagine. And what once began as something like a Judaic ritual practice is now something entirely different and perceived entirely different. It still may have the roots of that image embedded within it, but it has been reimagined through a lens and often purposefully made indistinguishable from the original in order to further remove one's tradition from that original image. You know, but when you go back to the roots, you'll find the same things there. You see this in a lot too. It's not just the Jewish stuff. You'll see this with the pagan stuff there as well. If you know what to look for, you'll find it within the Christian tradition. You know, I just about my favorite goddess ever is Rhea Sibylle. I see her everywhere in the Catholic churches, in the Catholic iconography. She is Mother Mary. she's right there with Plutus, her divine child. That's not Jesus, that's Plutus. That's not Mary, that's Rhea Sibylle. But they have reimagined it through their own mythology, right? And they have a whole justifications and stories and everything. But we know that Rhea Sibylle, her eidolon, was brought to the Vatican Hill and installed there by the priestesses way before Jesus was ever a thing. Anyway, interesting. That's fun. Okay, let's continue. Ore by Gabriel Macari. All right. Muses guide my hand. What is the message from Ore and Gabriel Macari? Inspire us. Death, beautiful and terrible matriarch, I do not wish to come to thee empty-handed, but rather shall arrive at thy doorstep carrying with me a bounty of gifts, delicacies, memories from a life fully lived, gold, frankincense, myrrh, soul, and much more. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Death, beautiful and terrible matriarch, I do not wish to come to thee empty-handed, but rather shall arrive at thy doorstep, carrying with me a bounty of gifts, delicacies, mementos from a life fully lived, gold, frankincense, myrrh, soul, and much more. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And we're getting that imagery of that Corey, right? Persephone, the queen of the underworld, right? That terrible and beautiful matriarch. And you have to cross that threshold. You have to go and sit with her at her table, right? We see this in the story of Psyche and Cupid. Psyche has to go and speak with Persephone before she can leave Hades. And she has to leave a gift, right? Interesting. Love it. Let us continue. Watch fiends and rack screams. Antone and Artaud. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Antone and Artaud? Inspire us this evening. Was the anti-Artaud state par excellence, and that to poison Artaud there is nothing like whisking up a good omelet in the spaces aiming at the gelatinous point? There was a line I missed. I'm going to go back. Okay. You didn't know this, that the egg state was the anti-Artaud state, par excellence, and that to poison Artaud there is nothing like whisking up a good omelet in the spaces aiming at the gelatinous point. That is so interesting. The egg is the anti-Artaud state. And what is he getting at there? And you're whipping it up and whisking it with that egg until it becomes that homogenized, whipped, frothy mess. Gelatinous. Artaud was forever that rabid individual, the one who walked his own path and was determined to reinvent himself, to die and be reborn, reimagined, right? He saw himself as his own Christ. What he's getting at here is the egg is the anti-Artaud state because it is that return to oneness and uniformity. And Artaud is about that diving into generation, into the expansion. Wow. That's a poison to Antone. Okay, let us continue. We are now going to go to the Book of Thought, Aleister Crowley. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Aleister Crowley? Inspire us. The abuse of divination has been responsible more than any other cause for the discredit into which the whole subject of magic has fallen when the Master Therion undertook the task of its rehabilitation. Wow. It's very, very true. It's very, very true. You know, a lot of really less than ideal divination out there, of tarot out there, of astrology out there, that is just silliness, you know. And I mean, all of life in a certain way is silly. I'm not saying anyone shouldn't be enjoying this, but there is a depth of magic and understanding in divination and within tarot, and people can really pursue that as a path of profound knowledge, but it has been so deeply discredited by people who simply use it as a form of entertainment, you know. But again, I don't want to say you can do whatever you want, have fun, enjoy life, right? This is also partially entertainment, and there's no doubt about that. But, you know, I believe that there's a lot to be offered in the divination and in the magic, and Crowley did as well. But he was of two minds when he wrote this book, because with his tarot, the idea of the Thoth tarot is to connect one with that muse, the higher genius, right? The holy guardian angel, right? And it's about going through that process of the finding and fulfilling the true will. It's very different than, you know, your typical divination, past, present, future. That's why when I do that, I don't generally even ask those questions. I let the tarot decide. Not that you can't. Again, you can do anything. You can utilize, part of it is this, you have to utilize your creative faculty and engage with it in your own personal way, I believe. But at the same time, you know, again, it's all about that balance. Interesting. Let's continue. All right. We're going to go to book 4. Okay. Muses, what is the message from Aleister Crowley in Book 4? Ignorance of the true meaning of this new law has led to gross anarchy. Its conscious adoption in its proper sense is the sole cure for the political, social, and racial unrest which have brought about the World War, the catastrophes of Europe and America, and the threatening attitude of China, India, and Islam. In Crowley's mind, he believes, and in his religion, it was revealed in the Book of the Law, if you believe that, it's this understanding of love and love under will, following and pursuing one's will, and doing so in that loving flow, and learning to adapt to this and to let go of all these other limitations and things that bind us, right? And there's a lot of truth, I believe, to that. Regardless of what you think about the Book of the Law or Crowley, it's very clear that there is this transformation that needs to happen. There is this responsibility that must be taken in this growth that humanity needs to undergo. We can all see it. We all see the toddler-like behavior. We all see the refusal to grow up. We all see our inability to come together and work towards a common harmony and a common equality and a common greater good. We can all talk about those things. We can all imagine those things, but God, they never seem to materialize, right, in any sort of way. And I'm not saying that we should pursue that in its absolute. That would be dangerous as well, right? We have to walk that middle way, If you go too far down that Apollonian, you just wind up creating a monism, a uniformity that is calcified and destructive and falls apart. But if you subsist in that anarchy, then you can never amass anything. You can never create new technologies that expand and grow, right? We have to learn to find this path of balance, and we have to be able to take responsibility for our actions, right? Oof, we got a lot of growing up to do. Painful lessons ahead. Okay. With that, let us go to our tarot proper. All right. We are going to use the Thoth Tarot of Lady Frida Harris and Aleister Crowley. But before I begin, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, please reach out. You can message me, snappydts@gmail.com, or find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy. All right, so we are going to invoke Saturn Kronos, and we are going to ask them to dissect our life and to cut it up and put it on the plate. We are going to look at our present, and we wonder, how do we move and flow? How do we rise above the conflicts? And how do we best manifest our true will? And what is the general message for the community? And as always, that center card is the most important card. And today's center is death, transformation, painful energy, but beautiful energy. And how appropriate to have this come up when I'm talking about the changing of cycles. Death is that inevitable energy. It is that ending that we see coming. It is that descent, cyclic falling, right? When death is here, we have to learn to embrace it, to accept it, and to move with it, and to move beyond it, to let go of what we have to, and to continue anew, to adapt and to change. Death does mean an ending, but it also means a new beginning, a rebirth, a transformation, a growth, a moving, an ending of one cycle and the beginning of something new. Where is this going? What is ending? Where are we being reborn? Interesting. Powerful energy. The 9 of Wands, strength. The 9 is the most powerful number in the Pythagorean number system. The highest before you begin a new cycle. That point of expansion. And in the suit of wands, it is that fiery, passionate energy, that lustful, loving energy, right? That desiring, expansive energy. And with this 9, we are given that strength. We need to persist, to direct that fire. Now is the time to take the reins, to take hold and to direct this energy. We're seeing the same message again reflected that we have for our title. Learning to harness this energy and direct it in a way so that we can overcome this transformation, so that we have the strength to persist through this change. That fire, that light that'll guide us through this ending and into a new beginning. Wow. This is so beautiful. You can't make this up. This is wonderful. This is just about as good as it gets, my friends. The sun, the perfect middle, the 666, harmony, family, paradise in the earth realized, success, right? The most hopeful card in the deck. We're seeing that as the coming out of this death cycle. We are coming into this new cycle, and it begins with this beautiful sun, a golden age, a coming together, a union, right? The establishment of a foundation, beautiful, profound, harmonious energy. Wow, we just have to have the strength to go through this transformation. It will be painful, but the reward is stupendous. The reward is our dreams materialized in physical reality. Wow. Let us continue. Yeah. The key to overcoming this death, right, is having that virtuous light, embodying that Hecate energy, Hecate trivia, being able to be true, to shine a light and do what is necessary to move through that death, to transition through the cycles, to go through the realms, right? When I see the 3 of Wands, I always think of Hecate helping Demeter find Persephone, for she hears the violence and she intervenes, right? She has the strength to intervene, to help that mother because she heard, and to direct her to and from the underworld, to rescue that dame, that Corey, that queen, that Persephone, right? And that's that energy here. We have to have the virtuous strength to do what is necessary to stand up towards tyranny, right? I've also been reading a lot about the Roman goddesses. And there's an amazing goddess called Diamuta. And there's a very similar story with Diamuta, where Jupiter wants to take the nymph Juturna. He wants her. He has decided that he's going to take her. And Juturna wants to resist this. So Hecate tries to get involved to save Juturna. Sorry, I should say Diamuta tries to get involved to save Juturna. And what she does is she whispers into the ear of Juno that Jupiter is planning to assault Juturna. So Hera, Juno, freaks out and goes to prevent Jupiter from doing this. As a punishment for this, Diamuta has her tongue ripped out by Jupiter and is cast into the mud. She's cast into the swamp and made to become a ruler of the underworld. You can find that in Ovid's Fausti if anyone wants to read it. Just reading it today, it's such an intense, magical story. But have that virtuous energy to stand up against the tyrant, right? In the story, it's so wild. They go on this thing where Zeus is literally saying, Juturna must submit to me. This is for her best. Why can't she just understand that her making love to me is going to fulfill me and in turn will be great for her? This is like the most insane stuff. And then they're vilifying Diamuta, but she had the power to stand up and to resist and to protect her friend. And for it, she lost her tongue and was cast into the underworld. Powerful stuff. But she had that virtue, and that's that energy. We want that virtuous fire. Wow. Not only that virtuous fire, but we want that Dionysian energy. We want to be in that flow. We want to take the leap. We want to pursue passion, right? What does the fool do? They dive into the creation for the pursuit of that passion. The energy is directed at their genitals. You can see the sun in the genitalia as they leap into creation in that pursuit of love and lust, right? And this is that energy we are called for, to leap after, to chase that love with that fiery, that virtuous fire, to pursue that true love, that passion that is there. Where is it going? Interesting. The Prince of Swords. Intense energy. Interesting energy. Because we've been seeing the Knight of Swords the last few days, and the message from the card has been for us to embody the Knight of Swords, right? To transition into that outgoing pursuer of wisdom, right? The mature, focused energy who has the strength and conviction, right? To both pursue wisdom, to teach, and to stand for truth. What I'm seeing here is that in this moment, we are showing up as the Prince of Swords. So we are along that path. We are moving along this path. We are in that direction, but we are showing up immature. So the difference between the prince and the knight is simply one of focus. Again, we have that focus, right? And it is also one of conviction and strength. The prince gets involved in petty squabbles, right? The prince is that energy of trying to upset the table, right? They're the one who will come in and with a new idea, and they think that we need to try it immediately, even if they don't fully understand the ramifications, right? It's smart and intelligent and powerful, but it lacks that experience, and it is prone to combat. So we must have that virtue, right? We must refine that energy, but we must still pursue that wisdom and take that leap. And he is connected. That energy of that outgoing pursuer of wisdom is that energy that brings us that sun. And it's that energy that comes out of that death. Interesting. Yeah. And at the bottom of our square, change. What comes from that death is that physical movement, that transformation. We are going to be in a physical, literal moving. This is a changing of jobs, a changing of home, a changing of place. And we must have the strength to move with the flow, to be that island upon the waters that moves in the depths, that can float, that has that strength to be able to be themselves, but also adapt, that balance again. And it is coming out of that death energy is resulting in that change. And we have to have the strength of conviction, that moral light of guidance to help us move through this difficult transformation. But if we can pass through that death, the sun is that reward. Wow. The card I drew this morning is now shown up. Interesting. We also have to be that powerful knight, that one who has that fiery power of inspiration, the one that pursues that passionate energy, that wields that passionate energy, right? We just have to have the strength to wield it in the right way. And as we embrace this change, we will adapt and learn to be this knight, to take that responsibility, to be that fiery light. Wow. That's so beautiful. Yeah. This is incredible. What comes through that change if we can embody that night? We get to our satiety again. We saw this the other day. The completion of that emotional connection, complete emotional fulfillment. where we are now able to have that loving flow so much so that we can give in charity, that we can share to others, where that our love is compounding love, where our love inspires others who inspire others who inspire others. Such incredible, powerful energy. Wow. It's all about having the strength to be able to go through that change, to pursue your passion, to believe in yourself, to fill those cups and to chase after that love, right? Amazing. Wonderful, wonderful energy. All right, let's give it a flip and take a look at the full spread. Here we go. Okay, so here's our full Saturn square. Let's start here with the 9. We have to have the strength right now. Now is about that strength of conviction, pursuing our love and being in that passionate, responsible energy and taking that leap, moving and change, adapting and flow, right? It's all about following that muse, embracing that inspiration. Now is about that wand energy and really taking that chance, throwing ourselves into it. As this death and this transformation comes, we need to have that strength of conviction to be able to go through the cycle, right? To be able to handle the change, to be able to adapt and move and flow, to shine that light and make sure that we're still pursuing that love with that fiery energy of that night, with that strength of conviction, that we're jumping through the cycles for the sake of that fiery, lustful, loving, passionate energy, right? And where does that take us? That fire continue to take us? Well, if we embrace the change again, we start to become that pursuer of wisdom, right? And that pursuer of wisdom leads us to the happiness and brings about that completion, the satiety. It leads us to so much strength, so much community, so much loving passion. We just have to pursue those wants and then pursue wisdom. And the sun is here, right? This is the energy. This was the whole message today when I polled it this morning. We have all of the power, all of this fiery, magical energy. We just have to direct it. We just have to apply a little bit of reason. A little bit of reason will go a long way to manifest this sun and to bring us into that loving harmony, right? This is about connecting to community, connecting to partners, connecting to family, to children, right? Giving birth to a new generation, a new cycle, a new growth, a new golden age, one of reason and passion. You just have to go through this death cycle and have the virtue to persist, to adapt and flow, and the strength of conviction, right? To be that Dionysus who chases after love, right? Who takes that leap. And if you can leap, the sun is on the horizon. All right. That's the message, everyone. I hope it resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. All right, we're going to do one final sortes, and then we're going to call it an evening. So, let's see. We are going to go to Dr. Faustus. This is an interesting thing. When I was reading Crowley the other day, there's a line in the Book of Thoth that says that Shakespeare's Prospero is his answer to Marlowe's Dr. Faustus. Just a fun little anecdote for you. All right, Muses, what is the message from Dr. Faustus? Here they be, madam. Wilt please you taste on them? Will it please you to taste on them? Here they be, madam. Will it please you to taste on them? And the woman is being offered grapes by Mephistopheles, by that Dionysus. Well, I feel like this is the thing. Are you embracing life? Are you embracing pleasure? Are you eating of that fruit of generation, of engaging in the rites of fertility, right? That's what that eating of the fruit is, right? It's about going through that, the sex, the drugs, all of that. It's not as evil as you think it is. And there it is. The fruit is there. Do you want it? Are you going to eat of the grapes and embrace experience and generation? Or are you going to stand in the corner and wait for death to consume you? All right, everyone. Peace and love. I hope I see you again tomorrow for more live tarot and sortes. Have a good night. Take care.